You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to continue the march to the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. This video, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. We're going to discuss Captain America, but a lot of people pretty much know his origins already. I believe Captain America, the First Avenger, did a really good job of telling the basic origin of Cap. So we're going to focus this video a little bit on what we can expect to see different from Captain America this time around than from the first Avengers. Because I can tell you right now, after the Winter Soldier, I definitely think Cap is going to have a more prominent role on the level of Iron Man. The first Avengers, if you remember, like, even though it was great seeing Thor and Cap and the Hulk, Iron Man was the center stage there. He was the primary, oh, there's Iron Man, and this is where Captain America, even though he was the leader, and even Iron Man acknowledged that at the end of the Avengers, it still didn't feel like, it still kind of felt like Tony Stark's show. I think that's going to change in this movie. Not only because of Winter Soldier, but because now that we've already seen the team assemble, we've already seen the team together, and now after knowing that Jeremy Renner said in a recent interview that you can expect to see more of the Avengers together outside of their uniforms, it'll be interesting to see how Cap is amongst the group, how his relationship has developed with Iron Man, Tony Stark, because we know in the first movie they did have a little bit of disagreements and a little bit of trash talking to each other, where I think in this movie there'd be a little bit more of a respect gain and an understanding. But I really expect Cap to shine a little bit more as a leader this time around than before, especially after the Winter Soldier. I think the Winter Soldier really did a good job at putting Captain America like further back on the map. You know, Avengers, Captain America, the First Avenger was I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I liked the setting, the introduction to the character, like, an origin, setting. And, even though it wasn't like super, like some of the Iron Man movies and stuff like that, I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a good story about his origin and had not the greatest action in the world, but it had some fun stuff where Winter Soldier just blew it out of the water. And I think now that you kind of see Cap in a different light, where in the first movie, like, he just looked so, I hate to use this word, but I'm only using it for lack of a better term, but he looked so weak compared to his colleagues, Here's Iron Man flying around, here's Thor summoning lightning, Hulk jumping from building to building, smashing stuff, and here's Captain America running down the street with a shield. Where I thought in the Winter Soldier, they highlighted his strength so well. They highlighted his strength so well that to me, he seemed more super. And I hope, and I expect, and I hope they do that in this movie, because I like Captain America. You know what I mean? My father was a huge Captain America fan, so maybe that's where it comes from. But I really do like Captain America. And I think in this movie, he's going to be a little bit more forefront than he definitely was in the first. Now, in terms of his origins, like I said, we all know him. He started in 1941, another creation by Jack Kirby. And, when he first started out, he was supposed to be called Super American. That was the first words that came out of, or the first thought that came into Jack Kirby's mind. And when he read it, he didn't like it. He thought there was too many superheroes already with the super in it. So he named him Captain America, and it sounded so well, and thank God, because Captain America is much better than Super American. And started in 1941. By 1950, Captain America fell off the map. He wasn't popular anymore, believe it or not. It wasn't until 1964 that he resurfaced, and then in 1964 up until now, he's maintained consistently being in Marvel Comics, featured in his own comics, stuff like that. So it was actually a while there, a 14-year gap between Captain America's original start and his reemergence into the comic world, and which I thought was pretty interesting. I didn't know. And as we all know, the story of Captain America is that his name is Steve Rogers, And he was originally a very scrawny, scruffy little guy who entered an experiment for what was called the super soldier. And he had the serum injected into him, and hence he became Captain America. And throughout the years has fought many, many villains, his archenemy being the Red Skull, who he fought in World War II, I believe it was. And eventually Captain America was stuck in suspended animation for a number of years until finally emerging in modern days without aging. And I've said always that I felt the movies, it wasn't until Winter Soldier, but I felt that the movie, like Avengers, because it was Avengers movie, didn't really do a job of seeing what it was like for Steve Rogers to get acclimated to his environment. Where Winter Soldier, I thought they did a solid job of recovering from that and doing that. And I think that's part of what made that movie so good, was not only did you get to see, not only did they do a good job of highlighting Captain America's powers and his abilities, but they also gave you a little bit more of a look into how he's been getting acclimated to modern days, what he's been catching up on. And that I really liked. I really liked that a lot in that movie more than anything. So in terms of Avengers, now what I'm interested to see is where's he come since then? Since the Winter Soldier, how far has he come along in getting acclimated? I hope we at least get to see a little bit of it. I know that the chances are slim because it's such a large movie with so many roles. But I hope we get to see at least a little glimpse of maybe where he's at now. And I definitely want to see how his relationship is developed with Tony Stark. And most of all, I really do hope to see Captain America in a more prominent leadership role. Not just being the leader last minute because Tony Stark says, make the call, Captain. I want him to actually get in there and say, all right, this is what we need to do, guys. You do this, you do this, you do this. Because he's a tactician. He's a military guy. He knows how to, to set up his team for success. So I really hope that's something they highlight. I really don't want to see him fall by the wayside like he did in the first movie. And we'll see what happens. But I think the Winter Soldier will play, obviously, a pivotal role into what kind of role he has in this movie. And I know that Avengers was a little bit into filming already when the Winter Soldier came out. But I'm pretty sure that Marvel knew what they had in Winter Soldier and knew that they couldn't make a movie that was going to be that big of a hit and then take Steve Rogers, Captain America, and the Avengers and bring him back down to the scale that he was in the first movie. So, but anyway, so that's basically it on Captain America. We all know his origins if you've seen the First Avenger. And just to mention a little bit of what we talked about earlier in the video in terms of when he first came out, the stopgap from 1950 to 1964, and where he's going to be in the Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, what his role is going to be like. And I'm hoping it's better than it was in the first Avengers. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit E.T.N's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.